Hi, guys. Welcome to Breaking Bread with Alie and Gabby. I'm Gabby Loren.
And I'm Alie Valerio. And I have a Yeti
Today,
now.
yes, you do. I'm
Baruch
so
Hashem.
excited.
Thank God.
Baruch Hashem.
Mm.
So, the audio gods have spoken. Alie is finally a part of the podcast, video cast crew. Thank you for
Yes.
that. Today, you guys, we wanted to discuss something really amazing. Alie and I had the pleasure of joining in on Unleash the Power Within March 2021 with Tony Robbins. And it was my first Tony Robbins event. For Alie, it was, I don't even know. How many times have you done this?
I think it was like my fifth or sixth event. I actually just found my UPW original thing too. I was like, oh my
Wow.
God, this is amazing.
That
So
is
I
so
first went in
crazy.
2018. Yeah. Then that's what changed my life. So
Well, Tony Robbins is definitely changing people's lives, that's for sure. And we got to experience that again this month. And so we wanted to go over the top 13 takeaways that we had from attending Unleash the Power Within and why we think that everyone should do Tony Robbins at least once in their life. Right, Al?
absolutely. So I'm just going to give a little synopsis too. So I did go to Tony Robbins UPW back in 2018. I was working at a job at the time where I was like super miserable, and I was basically having one of those breakdown, not breakthroughs. And a friend of mine told me, why don't you go to Tony Robbins? And literally the next week was the event. So I had to like take off work, figure out everything, and just step up and say yes, even though my limiting beliefs were always that, oh, I don't have money, I don't have time, and I just can't do it right now. But I have to say that it was probably one of the most important decisions I've ever made in my entire life, because it encouraged me to quit my job, break up with my boyfriend, start my own coaching company, and really step out of my comfort zone. So the first takeaway
Wait,
that
before we get into that, when after you did your first UPW did you take those three actions you just talked about?
when did I take them?
Yeah.
So actually within the last like within 2 weeks,
Within
literally.
2 weeks of attending, you made all those changes.
I did, yeah, because I
Wow.
was a big thing that Tony Robbins really emphasizes is massive action, and also destroying limiting beliefs. So I was like, I am miserable. I need to like stop working where I'm working. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
miserable in this relationship. I need to break up with this person, and like he didn't even support me going to the event. So I just started realizing all the things that I had in my life that were holding me back, and I knew that it was all me. So the first point and the first takeaway that I really want to emphasize is destroying limiting beliefs, and really recognizing that everything that we're saying to ourselves is just a belief, which Tony calls a BS, a belief system. And once we recognize all of these BS things we've been telling ourselves, we can kind of reshift and reframe our framework in order to change our lives. So just the first step is recognizing what beliefs are holding you back, and then stepping up and changing them.
And it's part of human nature to have limiting beliefs. When we're in our
Everyone.
head, Tony says we're dead. So
Yes.
the more we're in our head, the more limiting beliefs we're starting to believe and the less action we're taking to create change, right, Al?
100%. 100%.
So, our second Tony Robbins takeaway is reinforcement that the impossible is possible and it's all about your mindset. So, that plays into the first one that we just talked about. We had the pleasure of hearing Jamie Kern speak, who is the CEO of It Cosmetics. She has an amazing, incredible story, and she's written a book about her success. And basically, she went from being a news anchor to creating one of the top beauty brands, and L'Oreal bought it for, I think it was $1.2 billion, and named her the first female CEO of their brands. So it was a huge step. She went through 3 years of not knowing what was going to happen and starting this business out of her living room. And I think that idea that the impossible is possible, and that everything you ever, every challenge you ever experienced, every limiting mindset you ever had come up, and the inner voice doesn't need to be your truth, doesn't need to be your future story, doesn't need to be your present story. You have the power to say in this moment, I am the voice now.
Yes. Incantations. I love it. Absolutely.
Yes.
I love Jamie's story. It's so powerful. I actually saw her in Business Mastery too, and she's a self-made billionaire with such an amazing story and talk about destroying limiting beliefs. Wow. So the third takeaway that we took is that energy is transferable, and also energy is everything. Tony Robbins actually always says where focus goes, energy flows. And I use this a lot with my clients, and it's true. It's like, right, we have our reticular activating system. When we're focusing on something, we're giving energy to that thing, and energy is neither created or destroyed. So just really pay attention to your energy, and if you're giving negative energy towards something or positive energy, and you can change your state like that
Right.
in terms of
And
energy shift.
not only that, but we can also feel our energy and other people's energy, right, Al? Because on the final day of
100%.
Tony Robbins, we heard from Master Co,
Love
who
him.
does energy healing. And if you guys want to do this quick activity, follow along, Al, you
Do
too.
it. Yeah.
We can rub our hands together. This is one thing he taught, right? Get it warm, get it warm. And then press your thumb into the middle of the palm of your hand, and then do the other side as well. Press it in. Okay. Now hold your hands in front with a little space in between, and close your eyes and envision something that makes you really happy and you're grateful for. Right. And do you feel this energy get stronger when you're thinking of happy thoughts? How do you feel?
Yeah. 100%.
You can feel the energy pull between your two palms and your
Yeah,
hands.
if you also move your hands together and then kind of pull them apart, you can feel this like magnetic force of energy.
Yeah. You can definitely feel it strengthen and then get a little bit weaker depending on which direction you go in. So, with that being said, you guys, you can literally transfer energy to people around you. You can meditate to give back and contribute and send your love and light, not just to yourself, but to others as well. And people
100%.
feel it. Like real things can happen due to positive energy transfer.
I want to just add one more thing to that. Is like so often we get into negative mindsets, right? We have these ants, these automatic negative thoughts. We start giving energy to negativity. We start attracting more negative things in our life. And you and I both had a similar situation recently where there was a person that was triggering us. And it's like, okay, I send this person love and I send this person light. And it's so hard sometimes when people are so negative that you're just like, what's wrong with you? Like, this person's so negative, and then you get caught up in that. But if you just say, okay, maybe they're going through something, I send them love and I send them light, that kind of just transfers the energy away from the negativity and helps you move forward.
Right. And anytime you give, you also receive. So giving that
Yes.
beautiful, shining, positive light, you receive it back at some point. So it's a great way to change your energy state for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. The fourth tip and takeaway from Tony Robbins is if you want to be successful, you must model success. So if you are looking to start your own business or go down a different path, pursue something new, you need to find somebody that's been there and done that and has done great things because of it. And so modeling is basically just not having to go through, all of the stresses and the failures and mistakes in order to get to the same destination as someone who's come before you. So you learn from someone who's better, whether that's getting a business coach or a health coach or someone in your industry as a mentor. These are all really important for you to attain success in the fastest way possible and most efficient way possible.
1,000%. And you asked me to like, how fast did it take for you to like change your life after Tony? I literally hired a coach to help me build my online business the week after joining Tony Robbins and coming back. And I was just like, I need to find a business coach. Like, if I want to be the best, if I want to create an online business for myself, for my coaching clients, I need someone who's already doing it. That week, I ran into my business coach accidentally at Bulletproof Coffee, literally manifested this. And
Wow.
I was like, okay, that's God just being like, all right, let's go. Let's do it.
That is so crazy. Okay, I'm going to tell you a really quick story, which is kind of really weird, but so our organization that we're both a part of, where we take Torah classes, had some speakers on Monday night. And one of the speakers was Neil Schwartz, who's a huge real estate agent here in California. And I had actually been invited by his company to join their script role playing practices for a few weeks. I only did like 2 when I first got my license. He's a part of a different brokerage than me. but I joined. I was eager to learn and everything. And then I heard he was speaking, so I was really excited. I went on, watched him. Also, he brings up Tony Robbins a lot. You'll notice this a lot with a lot of successful people and entrepreneurs. They're all doing Tony Robbins. So, anyways, flash forward to the next day. I go to my part-time job and I get a phone call on my lunch break from Neil Schwartz's team saying like, "Oh, hey, we just wanted to follow up and see if you still wanted to join in on the role playing and script practice." And I was like, "Whoa,
What?
that's so weird that you guys just called me because I literally heard him speak last night." And I was just thinking about it, and I asked him a question on the Zoom event. So it was just so weird in synchronicity 101, but it just reminds me of what you're saying, because in my head I'm like, I know I need a better mentor. I know I need a coach. So
Yes.
I need to get more plugged in to learn this business, since I'm now doing real estate too, and it's a new career change for me.
Yes, I love that.
And that's so crazy.
That's such a beautiful story too, because it also alludes to everything we've been saying. Like everything is energy, everything is focus. Like you want to be successful, you have to model success. Like, but another part is that the fifth point is it takes 2 millimeters to make a massive shift. That's all it takes, you guys. All it takes is 2 millimeters to make a massive shift. So if you put your hands like on your sternum here, yeah, and you raise your chest up like this, how do you feel? Do you feel different from when you were doing this? Like now slunch over?
Slumping over, yeah.
Slump.
Yeah.
Like how
Not
do you
as
feel when you do that?
not as energized for sure. A little
No,
bit
and
more
now put your hand
mopey.
100%. Put your hand on your
Now
sternum
lift
again.
up. Yep.
2 millimeters. It's all it takes. Like we think that change is going to take forever, and it's huge. Like, I know I'm getting my realtor's license too. Gabby just got her license, and it's like you want to be so successful, but sometimes you have to realize that it's those 2 millimeter shifts that make these massive changes. And it's not about changing all at once, but like these little tiny steps that are helping us get to our goals versus thinking like crazy giant leaps.
He likes to say that
today's good is just average.
but today's outstanding gets you good results.
Good results. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's just that 2 millimeter difference to get you to being successful, just like
100%.
Alie said. So we really have to think about this when we're putting in the effort and putting in the work and creating the change. Are we being good and average, or are we being outstanding and good?
Right. And how can you step up just a little bit to make that 2 millimeter shift? So sternums up, guys.
Sternums up. I have to remember the rest of the show.
Sternums up.
So our next one, number 6, it's not about resources. It's about resourcefulness. I love this one. This one really spoke to me because so many times we make excuses for ourselves and say, oh, I'm too tired, or, oh, I am trying, or I'm doing this and it's not working. But these are all excuses, okay? If you say, oh, I don't have the money to get this done, or I don't come from a family that's wealthy, or I don't know anybody, these are all, again, limiting beliefs and excuses. Be resourceful. Find a way to make it happen. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to put in the effort to try to do something to create change, because change only comes with action. So being
100%.
resourceful goes hand in hand with taking action to do so.
100%. Even if you just look at Tony Robbins' story of resourcefulness, he wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He came from poverty. He had a mom who had like 5 different dads, and she was an alcoholic. He squandered all of his money when he was 21 and was living in a bachelor apartment with his lights turned off. It's even David Goggins. I was listening to David Goggins this morning. He's so incredible. And at one point he gained like 300 pounds after the military and was like eating donuts every day. Now he's the fastest man alive. And what? People don't get what they want based on what they have. It's based on becoming resourceful. And I think you and I talked about this even yesterday, of our limiting beliefs, even around money, and oh, I don't have the money to do that. It's okay, it's instead of saying I don't have that, how can I figure out how to get this?
Right. And that also plays into our number 2, which we said, the reinforcement that the impossible is possible, because all of these people, like Tony Robbins, for example, he was in his home in a 400 square foot bachelor studio apartment, no money, not paying his rent, with an eviction notice on the door. and he's washing his, dishes in the bathtub. This guy decided he was at his breaking point, and he established a plan after that, and he got resourceful. And that just goes to show like the polar opposite is possible. You can go from living in that 400 square foot apartment, about to be kicked out with no electricity, barely being able to afford to eat, to having huge success. I mean, this man had like, they first said for UPW 2021 that there was going to be 30,000 people there. Then they announced 40,000 people came. Then they announced 50,000 people actually showed up, because, it's on Zoom and there's multiple people in different people's homes joining in and everything. And then at the end, I got an email that said something about like around 80K people attended UPW.
Wow.
It was the biggest event on Zoom in history.
And the
Okay.
biggest UPW ever. And talk about resourcefulness. Tony Robbins only did in-person events. He could have been like, whoa, I can't do events for a year plus because I only do in person. That's my magic. That's how I impact people. Now he's impacting, usually there's like maybe 20,000 people that go to UPW, and that's huge. Now he's impacting 4 times that many people in a virtual event, and probably 10xing his financial gain. We calculated like $23 million in 4 days. Like, okay, guys, like, step up. Like, these limiting beliefs are bullshit. How can you get resourceful, and how can you really like overcome these fears?
And that's a great example, because he basically went from, I don't know what I'm going to do, all of my events are in person, and COVID's canceled every in-person event.
Right.
You're not even allowed to gather with more than 10 people, to holding the largest Zoom event in history, and probably expanding his UPW and his income that he's been able to produce by like, I don't know, 10 times. Let's think about it. It's unbelievable.
1,000%. Absolutely. So, the 7th point is what gets measured gets improved. This is a hard one for me, because I'm like a very like, let's go with the flow kind of person. Like, whatever, it's cool, it's good. But it's like, no, in business, I know this already. You know this. Listen, guys, all these principles we already know, but like, write them down, because we have to actually practice them. Especially like in business mastery and UPW, like, you have to measure, where are you now, where do you want to be, and then how do you want to get there. And if you don't measure it, you can't actually have like a specific result. They're called SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. SMART goals, right? And even in real estate, right, Gabs, like, you have to measure, how many calls did you make today? How many people did you talk today? How many posts did you do? Like, what gets measured gets improved. And if you don't know your numbers, you're basically screwing yourself.
So true. This has been stressed so much, especially in real estate and in business. I'm going to actually bring up my rule or my takeaway number 13 right now, because you brought it to its attention. It ties into it because of what you were saying. So if you're not doing it, you don't know it. It's one thing to understand it cognitively, but if you're not actually doing it and implementing it and taking advantage of it, then you don't know it fully. And so many times, like even with Tony Robbins, people are like, oh, I don't want to do Tony Robbins, or I don't want to tune into this because I already know these things. I read a book about that, or I did a class like that already. No, you'll never fully know it unless you're doing it.
I love that.
And you might have read it, you might have understood it, but you're not actually experiencing it. And that's more important. And you can always be a student. So I wanted to bring that up right then and there.
We're going to make that 0.8 now, because that's infinity. I think that's like probably one of the most important points ever, right?
So crazy that landed right there.
Of course it did. Nothing is coincidence.
That is funny.
So the 9th point is that clarity is clearing out mental clutter. Empty out and fill up with prayer. So basically, clarity is power, right? If we don't have a clear mission or idea of where we're going, we're going to be all over the place. It's like driving in a car and you don't put on your GPS and you're just like, okay, cool, I just intuitively am going to get there. But where are you going? Like, you don't even know where you're going. You're just kind of just going with the flow. And then people wonder, why am I not getting what I want? Because you don't have a clear vision of what you want. I tell people this in fitness all the time. I want to lose weight. Okay, how much weight do you want to lose? I don't know. I want to lose, like 5 pounds. Okay, cool. Like, Perfect. That's a measurable goal. And you need to have clarity about where you're going and why you're doing it. And I guess the second part to that is empty out all the mental clutter and then fill it up with prayer. I think Jamie made this point, right?
Yeah. No, actually Sage made this point, Sage Robbins.
My favorite, my birthday twin.
On the last day.
About what she said.
So basically, and I want to add to that, visualize this. You have tons of clothes in your closet and things all up in there. That you have no room, me too, and that you have no room to add anything else into that closet, right? So if you solely remove things from the closet, you donate it or you sell it or whatever you do spring cleaning, you're now emptying it out, leaving room for new things to come into the closet. And you can fill up with clearness, clarity. It's just energy clearing in general. So I just wanted to give that like analogy so you guys can, is it an analogy or a metaphor? I'm sorry. This stuff.
I guess it's an analogy.
It's an analogy, yeah.
It's like cleaning out your closet. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like when you're decluttering all the mental clutter and the limiting beliefs, you're getting it all out, you're throwing it in the trash can, and then you use prayer to fill up and be connected and serene and calm. And and it just flows after that.
Which is our whole point of this podcast too, is like, and I think Adalia refers to this a lot. It's like, he has so much going on in his life that he takes that he's going to do in the morning, that prayer where he's talking to God, and he kind of just gives God all of his mental clutter, like everything that's going on that he's been dealing with, like, God, help me find the way for this, help me find the way to this. But he's clearing all the clutter so he can make room for newness, and he's leaving all the crap that he doesn't need to have in his head up to Hashem to figure out what to do with it.
Right.
So I feel like that's another part.
Moving into takeaway 10, knowing when to let go of a dream is just as important as knowing when to go after one. Now, that was a quote from Jamie Kern when she was speaking, this amazing girl boss CEO from It Cosmetics. And that's basically tying back into the story of, she let go of her news anchor job to pursue starting a skincare line to help with rosacea and for women, of all ages, shapes, and types. And so I think that's really important to remember that like you're always changing and you're always growing. So your goals and dreams might change along with you throughout life. And that's also knowing when to let go of something that's not serving you anymore and going after something better.
100%. I love that. This next point is the point 11, our favorite number, 11. This is probably actually my favorite point that I also use with my clients, is that we have 6 basic human needs. Okay. So if you guys have a pen and paper in front of you, I would jot this down. This is basically the reason that you do everything in life. Okay. The first human need that we need to fulfill is a need for certainty. Okay, we want to know that things are going to end up the way they're supposed to be. Like, this is why we have jobs. This is why we have relationships. This is why we work. Like, this is why we eat food, because we know it's going to bring us a certain level of certainty. Even people who like smoke cigarettes. But then the second need is our need for uncertainty. So it's like, whoa, curveball. So we have this need to be certain, but then we also want variety. So this is why people travel. This is why maybe people date other people. This is why we eat different foods, because if we do the same thing all the time, we get super bored. Okay. The third need is a need for significance. So everyone in life wants to feel like they're doing something, or they're being someone, or like, you're a realtor and like, I'm a coach, and like we are people and we're making a difference, and like that brings us significance. Even like being a mom or a daughter or a husband or a wife, that all brings a need for significance. And then the fourth need is a need for love and connection. So I think a big part of why we started this podcast too is because it helps us connect to people, and like we love people. And I know, Gabby, for you and I, that's 2 of our human needs that we pursue over and over again, is love and connection. Again, this is why people get into relationships. Like, we always want to feel that love and connection. And then the bottom 2 needs, which are the most important needs at the end of the day to reach the art of fulfillment, is we need to grow and we need to contribute. So when we're not growing, we're what?
Dying.
Exactly. And when we're not contributing, we're just what?
We're dying.
Yeah, kind of, but we're just like living for ourselves.
We're just getting by. Yeah.
like we're not really giving anything into the world. So the highest human needs that you can actually go for are growth and contribution. So I invite every single person who's listening to this to really think about those 6 human needs and think, where do I live most of the time? I know for me, it was uncertainty and love and connection. And Gabby?
Mine was certainty and love and connection.
Right, because we're total opposites. So see where you live right now in terms of your human needs, and then think about what do you want to create in this world. And when you start thinking about that, what human needs do need to be your focal point moving forward so that you can actually attain those goals. So for me, it would have to be growth and contribution if I want to attain my ultimate goal of like giving back and channeling God's light and being like a gift on this earth for other people to change their lives. And then Gabby, I think, did you come out with the same thing too, right?
Well, my original thing when I was doing the activity was that, I thought I need uncertainty and love and connection. But then you brought up a really good point that no, I think yours is actually growth and love and connection, because you can grow through uncomfortable times and change. And me, I like certainty. So me getting out of my comfort zone is basically growing. Although it includes elements of uncertainty, what I really need is just to be okay with growth.
Yes. So do that on your own, you guys. See where you live right now and where you need to be in order to get to your goals.
Exactly. Okay, number 12. Inauthenticity guarantees failure every time. So you can offer a service or create a business, but you might fail by being authentic, but you'll always fail by being inauthentic. If you're not connecting with your true purpose, your true meaning, what you want to represent, what you want to do for others, then you're setting yourself up for failure every single time. It's really important to remember to always stay true to who you are and your goals and your beliefs, the positive ones, not the negative ones. Because failure is good. Failure, you learn from mistakes, but you will fail every single time should you not be putting out the right message that aligns with who you are and what you want to represent and what you want to give.
100%. And also, I just want to say, like, it's really important that you just are your authentic self, especially in business, because the people who vibe with you will vibe with you and the people who don't won't. And that's okay, because there's 7 billion people in the world. So like just be you.
Right.
So the 13th point, which is the last point, is that selling isn't selling, it's providing an experience. And also selling is serving. So we're both in jobs where it's like we sell, we have to sell. I mean, everyone sells. We're selling things every day in life. Like the best sellers are like children. They're like, can I have this toy? Can I have this toy? Can I have this toy? And like they sell in like a different way. Maybe they're like super cute and then like, can I please have it?
And then you're like, but why should you have the toy? And then they say, well, it's because it's really fun and I like to play with it and we could do this and that and da-da-da-da. And then it really gets you excited and you're like, okay, I'll get you the toy, That's
right.
Great.
Exactly.
That's a really like basic example. But also, when almond milk first came out, I was like all about almond milk and on this health kick. And I was like telling everyone, oh my God, you need to try almond milk. It tastes just like milk. It is so creamy and delicious and yummy and it's healthy for you. And it's made in California and it's organic. And me selling it without even trying to sell it was like creating an experience for the other person. And everyone else wanted to try it just because I made it sound so good.
No, I know. And I love that you said that too, Gabby, because it's like selling really is sharing and it's really helping someone else create an experience. So don't be afraid to, don't even think, if you're being salesy feels weird to you and it feels off, don't think about sales, think about service. And like, even with what you and I do, like we're providing services to people, you're helping people find their homes. Like what's more important than that? I'm helping people change their bodies and their lives, like, and their mindset inside out. It's like, I'm not selling, I'm serving. So I think for everyone listening to this, we're all doing jobs where we need to make money and provide a service. So selling is serving.
Yeah. And I think we should also connect to the idea that you don't necessarily, when you're providing a service, you're also a consumer as well. And you want to remember that because people are very emotionally triggered around sales and selling. I remember in the Tony Robbins workshop when they were talking about business mastery and, oh, do the next course. And the way they were presenting it, people were getting really triggered. Like, oh my God, why are they selling? Like, I want to keep learning. I can't believe I paid for this and they're selling this other program before this one's done. But it's like, okay, let's breathe. Okay. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Let's do it a few times and understand why you feel that way, why you have this anxiety. They are not trying to sell you in order to just sell you and like throw your money at them and throw it away. They're trying to give you an experience so that you can move to the next level and get something out of it to further yourself in life and business. And that's how you need to look at it, as opposed to like, I can't believe they're doing this to me. No, it's for you. Just like everything in life, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Yes, Tony Robbins Jr. Yes.
So
that's like the bonus thing actually that I think is the point, is that everything is always happening for us, not to us. Like you need to have that mindset in everything. Like, why is this happening to me? This isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. Like, how can you learn? How can you grow from this? How can you say, oh, they're selling this opportunity to me? Like, this is so cool. Maybe this isn't for me right now, but like, wow, what a cool opportunity.
Yeah, I agree, Alie. And honestly, you guys, I know this can sound super overwhelming and you're probably like, yeah, it's easier said than done. Of course, we all struggle with each one of these takeaways, right? But you have to remind yourself and then implement action to create those small changes so that you can move forward in life and you can grow in life. So it's just about growth and opening up your mind to a new way of thinking and a new way of doing things so that you can live in your ultimate best self and do the possible from the impossible that you once thought it to be,
100%.
and I definitely think I'm really grateful. I was so happy I was able to do Unleash the Power Within. And I think these tools are so important for life. And it's not just important to read it once or twice. It's important to actually experience it, create a community, accountability, implement action. Maybe even today, after you watch this video, you can write down one thing you're going to do differently every single day that you're going to commit to now.
Yes, I
to
love
further
that.
yourself. So create that action. But we hope that we inspired you here today. We love Tony Robbins, and I have to say it was a powerful event, even though it was on Zoom. It was really cool to connect with people from all over the world. And we would do breakouts and hear from other people and their experiences and what limiting beliefs they had and how they're going to break it. And it was just such a powerful community of people that really want to work on themselves and do right by others.
I just wanted to say something too, is that Gabby, you manifested this ticket. Like,
I did.
She was like, I want to go to Tony Robbins. And then I kind of like added her to a group with this other thing that was like a free group. And then she kind of put
New
it out
world, new
there.
you.
Yeah, New World, New You. And then you manifested this ticket and someone gifted it to you. And then you invited me to be part of your experience. And like, I just want to say, like, that's the epitome of serving. Like, wow, thank you for sharing your experience. It was like it was intense. I was like, I don't know. It takes a few days to recover too, guys. It's like a very intense experience, but just know that like when you're growing, it's not going to be comfortable. And if you're staying comfortable, then you're not growing. And if you don't want to grow, then stay the same, which is probably another thing we learned, is like, what's the pain of staying the same, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to give you that, that woot woot. And also selling is serving. Like, if you guys need help finding a home, talk to Gabby. You're working your butt off right now. She serves her people. You go the extra mile. You're so freaking organized and like disciplined. And I always admire that about you. And you're just like relentless. So if you guys want to buy or sell a home, talk to Gabby.
Damn, Alie, that was a really great review. Thanks.
I'm edifying you. You can also, it's like Women's History Month or whatever. Like, edify your female people. Like step up. Like, let's not compete. Let's freaking rise together. And if
yeah,
right. And if you guys need help with anything related to health, fitness, nutrition, mindset, whatever, I'm here to support you. You guys can always contact us, friend us on Facebook, tell us what you liked in this episode. We'd love to do more things that you guys want. And yeah.
Yeah. And while we're on this topic, Alie is an amazing human being. She is just so intuitive. I feel like you see things that other people don't see in themselves. So if you want someone to really like pull the good out of you and pull the bad stuff out of you and be able to break it down and tell you what you need to do to be better, Allie's the girl to do that because she
Love
just
you.
nails it on the head every time. Yeah. And you're really like passionate about what you do. You love it. You live it. You eat, sleep, and dream it. So you want someone that's just as passionate about it and sees results
100%.
to show you that you can have the same results too. You don't want to get advice from someone who doesn't practice what they preach. Let's put it that way.
1,000%.
Mhm.
1,000%. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in for this episode of Breaking Bread with Alie and Gabby.
Thank you for listening to this. And if you're interested in any Tony Robbins future events, we'll link it below in the description and you can sign up for the next one. They have tons of opportunities from Unleash Power Within to Date with Destiny to Business Mastery to Life Mastery. So any area that you're looking to fix and make better, which should probably be all areas,
100%.
you can connect and find those opportunities below. And thanks again. Press that like and subscribe button and we'll talk to you guys soon. Love, your two favorite Jewish girls.
Woo, woo. And Tony Robbins.